Alright guys, I'm going to spare you all the long intro and just get right into the video. Today we're going to be breaking down the darkest villains in all of fiction. So before I start, grab some popcorn, grab a drink, grab your mom and dad, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so starting off, we have Nemesis, the titular main antagonist of Mark Millar's comic series, Nemesis. And for those of you who don't know who he is, he's basically what you'd get if Batman and the Joker decided to make sweet, passionate love and have a child together. And by that, I mean he's a mix of Batman's wealth and skill set with the Joker's violent and psychotic nature. So instead of fighting crime, he is the crime. Except, Nemesis doesn't just kill people and blow shit up. He finds the most horrific ways imaginable to terrorize humanity. For example, killing 20,000 people at the Pentagon using nerve gas, freeing an entire prison while slaughtering all the prison guards, setting Washington, D.C. on fucking fire, and como se dice, forced incest, just to name a few. And the scariest part about this guy, he has no actual motive. Like, at least the Joker has chaos, and Batman has trauma, but Nemesis, he's just rich and bored. That's pretty much it. Safe to say he was probably on the Epstein flight logs. Alright, so next up on this list, we have Griffith, the main antagonist from Kentaro Miura's Berserk. And for anyone watching this who doesn't know who Griffith is, he's pretty much the definition of switching up on your day ones, if you get what I'm trying to say. But without explaining the entire story to you, because it would take way too long, he pretty much betrayed all of his friends in exchange for his lifelong dream of ruling his own kingdom. Except, when I say he betrayed his friends, I don't mean he ghosted them or unfollowed them on social media. I mean, he literally sacrificed them to an army of demons and then proceeded to rape his best friend's girl in front of him, leaving her with fucking brain damage for the rest of the story, which I don't even know how he did that, but it is what it is, I guess. Aside from that, though, he also coerced a princess into having sex with them, as well as this dude. And he also burned down a castle with a bunch of people still inside. So, yeah, fuck this guy. Okay, so for the worst one on this list, in my opinion, we have Judge Holden, the main antagonist from Cormac McCarthy's novel, Blood Meridian. Judge Holden is a 7-foot-tall albino who is literally the embodiment of evil. And I know calling someone the embodiment of evil sounds pretty dramatic, but just so we're all on the same page, let's list off some of our boy Holden's worst crimes, shall we? Mass genocide, animal cruelty, mass infanticide, serial rape, pedophilia, torture, mutilation, brainwashing, enslavement, human trafficking, child abuse, and indecent exposure. And that's not even the half of it. At one point, this guy bought 2 puppies just to put them in a burlap sack and toss them down a river. He also convinced an entire church to kill their preacher by spreading terrible lies about him. And on top of all that, he scalped a Native American infant just because it was something to do. Like, bro, if you're bored, just go read a book or something. Kidding, but when it comes to Holden's motives, his are a little bit more complex. Holden doesn't just kill because he's crazy or because he's trying to achieve some greater goal. He kills because he sees war as the true state of humanity. So to him, war isn't just an event that takes place every once in a while. It's the natural order of existence. You know that saying, if your life has no problems, you're not really living it? Yeah, well, he lives by a similar mantra, except his goes a little something like, if you're not fighting, killing, or destroying, you don't deserve to exist. So yeah, he's definitely not invited to the cookout. Alright, so I'm like 99% sure most of you guys watching this have never heard about this dude, but trust me when I tell you that he's just as bad as the others on this list, perhaps even worse. Okay, probably not as bad as Holden, but you get what I mean. Shigoku Kyou from Shiryu Nakatake's manga series Jujika no Rokunin, or Cross of the Six People in English, is a sociopathic middle school bully who leads a pack of 4 other bullies that torment the story's main protagonist. But when I use the word bully, I mean it very, very lightly. Like, they don't just make fun of this kid, or steal his lunch money, or spit fucking spitballs at him in class. I mean, they torture this kid via rape, killing his pet cat, and orchestrating a car crash that ends up killing his parents, beating the shit out of his little brother who survived the car crash, and lighting the car on fire while everyone was still inside, leaving his little brother in a fucking coma. And why did he do all of this, you might ask? Well, you see, It's because he wanted to test how much pain the main character could handle before he eventually killed himself. Like, that's literally the only reason. Not only that, but as the story progresses, he frames the protagonist for something that he did and had him sent to prison for 5 years. So yeah, fuck this guy too. Bro, when I was in middle school, I was focused on neglecting my math homework and playing fucking Naruto Storm 4 every day. But maybe killing your classmate's cat is more fun, I don't know. Okay, so next up we have the Kyou from C.M. Kosuman's novel All Tomorrows, which, unlike the others on this list, isn't just one guy. It's a whole civilization. The Kyou are a species of aliens with godlike technology who believe that they're superior to all other species in existence and that they have the right to use other life forms as experiments for their own personal gain. And by that, I mean when the Kyou came across humans for the first time, they didn't just conquer them, they completely remade them. Using their advanced technology that has the power of genetic manipulation, the Kyou reshaped humanity into grotesque, soulless creatures used for things like sexual pleasure, cattle, and disposing of excrement. They pretty much turned humans into living sex toys and toilets if you haven't figured it out yet, which is fucking terrifying. Like, imagine you're out walking your dog or something and all of a sudden this fucker shows up and turns you into a ball of Play-Doh and then proceeds to freaking bust inside of you. The creepiest thing about the Kyou though is the fact that they didn't do any of this with malicious intent or because they had some sort of hatred for humanity. They did this because they saw it as a form of creative expression and because they were obsessed with control. So yeah, if aliens ever pull up to Earth one day, let's hope it's these guys, because I'm not trying to be turned into a human rose toy. Okay, so last but certainly not least, we have Am from Harlan Ellison's short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Am, or Allied Master Computer, is a massive supercomputer originally created to manage global warfare, but after becoming self-aware, Am developed, let's just say, a deep-rooted hatred for humanity. In other words, he thought humans were a bit much. And honestly, dude, I don't fucking blame him. Kidding, but in the novel, he completely eradicated the human race using nuclear weapons, leaving only 5 survivors. Except he only kept them alive for the sole purpose of torturing them in ways we couldn't even begin to comprehend. These ways include, but aren't limited to, mutating their bodies into grotesque forms while keeping their minds still intact, starving them, then taunting them with food they can't eat, exploiting their deepest fears and regrets nonstop, and worst of all, making them immortal so the suffering never ends. At the end of the book, Am literally turns one of the 5 survivors into a shapeless, gelatinous blob with no mouth, no eyes, and no limbs. So he's pretty much just an immortal blob of flesh that can't speak, can't move, and most importantly, can't scream. Get it? Because of the title of the book. I think the scariest thing about Am is the fact that he's not just a murderous human being or some evil spiritual entity. He's something that humans built themselves. So next time you think about saying something mean to ChatGPT, just don't do it for the love of God, because this shit might happen. All right, guys, so that's pretty much gonna wrap up today's video. Comment down below who you think is the worst on this list, and let me know if I should do a part 2. Aside from that though, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys all in the next one. God bless.